Okay, where are we? We'll be back in Prague, I'm guessing. Almost certainly. Okay. Yeah, we're back in Prague. That's fine. Got some new roads in Germany to explore if I want to. Oh yeah, they updated the icons, that's right. And the road numbers too, looks like. Fairly sure those are a bit more distinct. Kinda want to get back down to Iberia and explore the rest of it. Also got quite a few roads that we haven't actually driven on up around the Baltic. But we'll see if we can find a destination down in Iberia, perhaps the one we haven't been to yet. Great market. Now let's do the opposite route length. So we've got some Latvia, Estonia. Seriously? That's all? Wow, I'm surprised. What do we got here? Yeah, that's more like it. I think I've been to those places, unfortunately. We'll go all the way along the coast there. Oh, that's right, I can see the road slightly. Okay, so I haven't driven this road along Santander through to Dijon. We'll do this. It'll take a long time. 2,500 kilometers. Dang. And that's before I probably take some diversions. Okay, apparently I need to sleep as well.
Ready to roll.
I mean, I can just do that here at my garage if I want to.
Turn left. Never mind. I'll find a new route. Go straight.
Pop to the hotel may as well.
Keep left, and then turn left.
Gotta remember what all the controls are. That's windscreen wipers. There we go. Of course I have to just be starting at nighttime instead of daytime.
Turn left.
Gonna butt our way across here.
Keep right.
As is normally the case, we're not going to obey all of the road rules, just those that might
At the
benefit
roundabout,
us,
take the third exit.
because crashing is bad.
Exit now. Get ready to turn right. Turn right, and then turn right.
Could you move forward a little bit more, please?
Turn right. It's all over now.
Okay, which one was it? One in the middle. No. One at the end. Normally there's just a little bit of a spot underneath that I could tell. There you go. Couldn't see it that time.
Let's do this.
We'll be underway. 2,500 kilometers to go. Okay, so... No, that's actually not travelling on new roads. That's kind of annoying. Be nice if it was. Is there a way to make this more interesting? We could go this way. Let's take the twisty road. That's a lot more fun. We could take even more twisty roads. Yeah, let me start getting into toll routes though. That's kind of annoying. Yeah, screw it. Oh, interesting. It leads me that way. And that. And then that. End up going along the coast a bit. Also end up going along here, which is nice. No excuse to actually go into Lac, but at least go that way. Okay, so Santander has a ferry route to Plymouth. Okay, interesting. I really hope they redo some of the roads in the UK and maybe add in a bit more of Wales and Scotland at some point. Would be nice. Always just find some excuse to go into Navia as well. It'll kind of depend on what things are like at the time, whether or not we need to come in here to stop at hotels or fuel. You can just nominate those as diversions anyway. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a long trip. We'll see whether or not we even finish it.
Time to hit the road. Turn right. Get ready to turn right.
And we are going to be limited, since it's an external contract, which means that
turn
we
right.
Can't make up more time by speeding.
Get ready to turn left.
Well, unless the limit on the road is lower than
turn
how fast
left.
we can go. Pull out in front of some people. We are going to want that right lane.
Keep right, and then exit right. Exit right.
No need to indicate. Let's not tip over. So we're limited to 90, but we managed to get a little bit higher there. Set the cruise to 92. And sit back and enjoy the ride. Got our Australian livery on at the moment because there isn't a New Zealand one, so close enough. And it's colourful. And we just enjoy the morning light. I think I've got realistic fuel consumption on. I should probably check. But it's fine if we don't. Just won't have to stop as much anyway. Just being that guy at the moment.
Right.
Trucks overtaking trucks. Oh, we actually want to get off here. My bad.
Exit left.
Inside we go. Time for some fun roads. Motorways are nice and all, but not very interesting to drive on. And here's the sunrise. And a train. Okay. It's a lot easier to navigate these sorts of corners from inside the cab. I somehow doubt we're going to get past this cement mixer. It'll probably go faster than me, please. I might be able to take him on the inside here. If no one else is coming. No, he's pulling away. Just kidding. Get got. Wish you could zoom out in this view. You can if you go into the actual photo manager to take cool screenshots, but it'd be nice if you could just, as a matter of course. The fact that it zooms in on your cab when you turn the camera around is kind of annoying. Nice view up here though. Oops. Didn't need that road marking anyway. I haven't exactly staked out exactly where the fuel stops are along here, so it might be worth just stopping and filling up. Assuming this one's on the right side of the road. Yep. No reason not to. And stop. And fill. Put the parking brake on. And back on cruise. Hopefully no one's coming. Squeeze past. Oops. My bad. Squeeze past this guy again. Cut in front a little bit too early. Oops. Those things pack a punch. You should really stop just looking around for the sake of it. But it's fun. Let's not roll the truck again. Gotta make sure we don't go too fast down this hill. Over the main road. We're shunning motorways as much as we can. Though admittedly it is then frustrating when you get stuck behind people. Well, it's good enough for him to pass. And in fact, we'll just pass him too. Well, this is, I guess, is where we make up some time, because the actual speed limit is apparently only 60. Good trucks, at least. Hey, Mr. Smarty. Welcome, welcome. Long time missing. Yeah, let's slow it down through these corners. Okay, a bit too much, but we didn't want to roll. I really need to get a new controller. I have to have a big dead zone set up on my left stick, and it just makes the steering really jerky because it doesn't actually kick in until I move it a certain amount, and then it just kind of jumps. Can't decide which one I want though. Can't wait to Wyoming. Yeah, looking forward to that. Just another couple of weeks now, sounds like. Another set of cities to explore. Some more viewpoints as well. I really need to go back and explore a bit more. Because the last couple of DLCs, I've made the effort of doing the community event when it comes out, which is usually going between every city, so that's a start. But there's big stretches that I've not actually discovered, and I think for the last one I haven't actually gone to all of the viewpoints yet. That's kind of why I'm jumping back into this here as well. Of course, I got pushed back to my home garage, so I'm doing a big long delivery to get back to the Iberian Peninsula, but then I want to get around, explore the rest of the cities, explore the rest of the viewpoints. I won't necessarily do it all on stream, but I figured I may as well have this nice big long trip to get back down there. If something people can just vibe to. Yeah, 7th of September. 4 PM means nothing to me because it won't be that time for me. Realistically, as far as I'm concerned, I'll play it like the weekend after or something. I can't remember what day of the week the 7th is. Why that became a link? Because you put a dot in there for .me. It's .me, I think, is legit web suffix. Not sure what country it would be for, but also I don't think Twitch cares whether it's valid or not, it just assumes. On a Tuesday, yeah, that's kind of annoying. So I probably won't be playing it until the weekend after. At which stage the community event will probably be pretty much done, but I'll still need to do my personal ones. Getting a little bit close to that side there. Okay, here's where the small road ends and we have to get back on the motorway.
Keep right.
Yeah, it seems that it's new road going off to the left, but we won't be going there. Me when playing drives normally, you when playing what law lol. Well, you know, it is a game after all. I mean, I'm kind of forced to obey speed laws mostly at the moment. I can only go 10 k's an hour above, because it's an external contract. But when I first started playing, I was certainly a lot more cognizant of doing things properly, because if you crash and stuff, then it affects your income a lot, obviously. But now most of my income comes from drivers that I've hired. What I earn personally from deliveries is completely
right,
meaningless.
and then exit right.
So it doesn't matter if I just completely total my truck or
Exit right.
ruin my delivery, realistically. Though with external contracts, if you do crash out and have to use the emergency services, you do forfeit the delivery entirely. You can't take the trailer with you like you can with a normal contract, so there's that. I definitely don't want to do that. Yeah, why shouldn't I speedrun? Every time I sleep I get 100k. Yep, that's pretty much it. I mean, I have fines and stuff turned off anyway. I just kept getting far too annoyed by getting a crash fine when an AI changed lanes to me instead, so it wasn't even my fault and I was getting pinged for it. Or when you drift like a foot over a red light line and get hit with the red light fine. It's just annoying. So I just don't bother having traffic fines on. I have the fatigue on. As I try not to cause absolute mayhem if nothing else, because that's slower. It's also more of a challenge, really. I find it more engaging as a game if I'm pushing it a little bit faster than I should. Especially through twisty sections on back roads. Sticking to the speed limit and the advised corner speeds and stuff is all well and good to be safe, but it's a lot, I don't know, a lot more interesting if you don't keep it safe. You have the console open most of the time so you can teleport if you get stuck. Fair enough, to be honest. I don't have a problem with that, yeah. Don't want to be punished too much. Hey, Tori. Didn't get a stream notification? Ooh. Twitch rude. Well, welcome along. We're going for a long drive. Yeah, I've not used the console in this. I know you can like turn off AI drivers and stuff entirely. There's a miscellaneous speedrun category for the city runs that is without AI, so you don't need to worry about their behavior screwing up your run. But realistically, it's not that different to the normal run anyway. Yeah, I've not actually tried playing around with the console much. The only real, like, cheating I do outside of using,
Keep
like,
left.
turning off traffic fines, which is, you know, it's in-game, is a saved game editor every now and then I've used to give myself specific deliveries. Because I like to string along things going from destination to destination, and the game is notoriously bad for not really giving me deliveries that I want to the places I want to go. So previously I've strung along just a series of deliveries just to make sure that I'm going to the places that I want to go. It also lets you, it like decodes the save file and lets you tweak things, the values manually. So for speedrunning on older versions, I set up a couple of profiles on older versions and used the editor to decode it so that I could give myself all of the driver levels and some extra cash. Have AI driver set to 5 so it's more realistic with so many traffic jams? Yeah, screw that. Like, part of the problem is just that, like, on the motorway, yeah, there could be more AI density and it wouldn't be a problem. But in cities especially, the traffic flow management in the game is so bad. And not realistic, really. So, yes, there is a lot more cars, but all of the timings and stuff are all kind of just wrong.
Okay, let's.
So that's where it's actually not so realistic. Just gonna pull in here just to discover it. Means that when I come across this road another time, I can just bowl straight on through it. I don't have to worry about pulling in. Back when I was discovering the map 100%, I'd usually find a place that I could like turn around and cover off both things, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. AI are too scared, don't want to make a turn because more people are coming. Yeah, exactly. They don't judge the gap very well. And also the distances are just really condensed compared to reality, so yeah. So that's why I prefer to have it turned down. I think I have it on the minimum. And yeah, it makes it feel like it's a little bit more of a ghost town sometimes. So the motorways in particular can do with a bit more traffic, but, you know, it's alright.
Keep right. Exit right.
I feel like a monster some days, just like driving AI cars off the road. And you were telling me off for not obeying traffic laws. That's why I have them turned down, because I don't want to have to do that. I've definitely given them a bit of a shunt from time to time though. Or I'll just like push around them.
Turn
like, yeah,
left.
this guy's gonna be annoying probably. Okay, he got an opening, good. Otherwise I was just gonna go to the left on the wrong side of the road to get around this guy. You do it on purpose, yeah. I prefer to only crash into things on purpose.
Go straight. Turn
Please
left.
go straight ahead, please go straight ahead. Good. I mean, I'm stuck behind the caravan, but that's alright. He tries to cut in front, well, goodbye. Yeah, it's the AI cutting in front that really annoys me. They don't make good decisions. That's the reason I turned off the traffic fines, because I'd be going along in a lane, minding my own business, and they'd try and cut in front, or just merge, and just drive straight into my trailer, and bam, I'd get fined. Not sure where the next good place to sleep is going to be. Also don't get my lights on full now. Oh, he's taking the shortcut. Joke's on you. It's not a shortcut. I don't even know why that little bit of road exists. Like, there's so many places in this game that, like, in cities where they stop short of detailing just, like, the next city block or something, and then they have little bits like that, where it's just a useless side road. There's no rest area or anything. It's just there. Cool, next twisty section. This is where it gets interesting. You have two profiles, normal one and one with infinite XP and money. Ah, no damage. Yeah, that's true. That's the other thing you can do with the console is turn off damage, isn't it? I actually like the fact that there is damage and stuff. Like, yes, I want to break all of the laws that hinder me, because I do want to go faster, but at the same time, I still want it to give me some limits. Ouch. Took that one a bit wide. That said, 2% damage for hitting a little flexible plastic traffic thing on the side of the road does seem a bit extreme. And I do mostly try and keep between the lines. He says driving on completely the wrong side of the road because he took that corner too fast. But most of the time I prefer to be on my own lane. Need to get a mod to turn off damage? Oh, okay, interesting. Would have thought that if there's a mod for it, then it must be affecting some value in the game, which means that you should be able to influence that value in the console. But either way, I mean, if you've got like infinite XP and money and stuff, then, though you can do that by editing the save game file. Probably do that with damage too, to be honest. I'm not sure. Can't remember how much information that it holds. The only values I've really looked at are the bank balance and the driver level. Climbing up the next bit. Don't even have a line in the middle of the road on this one. Lost track of where I am. Am I Germany still, or is this Switzerland now? I feel this might be Switzerland. Certainly feels like it should be with this sort of scenery. Very nice. What am I more hyped for? Russia, Wyoming, or Texas? Probably Wyoming because it's coming out sooner. I feel Russia and Texas are going to be interesting, but a lot of really long, really boring roads. There'll be those in Wyoming too, but at least it's a smaller state. But Texas is massive, so you're just going to have really long, straight, boring interstates. And I imagine the same for Russia. You've just got such huge distances that you're covering. But I'm excited for them for the sake of expansion in general. Though for Euro Truck Simulator, I'd have much preferred that they filled in and had Greece and these kind of old Yugoslav states first. I'd much have preferred an Adriatic or an Aegean expansion instead. Hopefully they're working on that, because it's just a gap. Like, they've got Romania and down to Turkey, and they've got Italy, but they don't have the bit in between, and that bothers me. I'd have much preferred they did that first instead of Russia. But do also know that there's a fairly large Russian community for this game, so it makes sense. How long they're going to take with Texas, because it's massive? Yeah, they'll take about as long for Texas as they do for one of the Euro expansions, I imagine. It'll be like 2 cycles, like they'll do 2 small states in the time that it takes them to do Texas. Texas has a ton of massive cities. It doesn't have a ton, it has like 6 massive cities. And they're not even that massive, like it's got like 3 really big cities and then a handful of other cities that are large but not huge. But they're still a long way apart. Like you've got a kind of cluster where there's a few that are close together, but then it's very long distances between the others. Your Texas will probably cost more? I'd imagine so. It would make sense. I can't remember what the price difference is generally between the ATS DLCs and the Euro truck ones. I assume there's a price difference there, and in which case I'd expect Texas to cost the same as one of the Euro DLCs, as opposed to the normal smaller states. I have to stop and sleep next chance I get. Not sure where that is though, to be fair. Whee! Downhill we go. This is the fun section. Not that going up wasn't fun either. And let's slow down for this. Tight corner. Scania's on the back of the truck. I did enjoy my Scania. It was a nice truck. Unfortunately, it's not as fast. Just missing out on an extra 20 or so horsepower, I think. Where'd we go? Map DLC they should make as Yugoslavia area. Yeah, more northern Sweden, Finland and Norway. I don't think they'd bother with that, to be honest. I was kind of hoping with the Scandinavian one that it would go up as far as Bergen, but realistically, there's not a lot up there. And a lot of that coast, you have to take a lot of little ferries, so it would be a really disjointed experience. So I'm not surprised they haven't, and I don't know if they will. That's the sort of thing that's a lot of effort for very little extra actually being added. But yeah, Adriatic sort of area, definitely. So fill in the gaps. And then, yeah, I want them to do UK more, put more in Wales, put more up north in Scotland, at least as far as Inverness. Because at the moment you can go up as far as Aberdeen, you can drive around the top there, round past Huntly through to Inverness, and then down through Oban. But that's kind of the same sort of thing as the Scandinavian area, to be honest. Like, you're putting in a fair bit of effort for no good reason. Ireland would definitely be good, though. It'd be nice if they did just like a mini DLC, kind of on the same sort of size as one of the smaller US states, and just added Ireland with a bit more of Wales, and maybe a bit more of the Scotland area. Just combine it into that DLC. Iceland would be pointless because there's like one city. One city and one road. And I mean, people have done that in there's map expansions that you can play on with like the multiplayer mod and stuff as well. So other people have done that through pro mods and stuff. So it's a case of if you want to do it, there's ways to do it. It's not really worth it for SCS to put the effort into doing it properly. Iceland has a lot more than you think. No, it doesn't. Like, in terms of trucking, it has one main city and smaller satellite towns that would require a delivery like once a week. It's not exactly big, and it's not exactly well populated. It's a spectacular place, don't get me wrong, I'd love to drive around it, but in terms of what you're adding as content for an expansion, you would have to take a lot of liberties to make it make any sense. Like in pro mods or something, you can go to Svalbard or whatever it is, the Spitsbergen, is it? The one that's way up north, and like it actually makes no sense that you drive a truck there. Like realistically, if you're doing a delivery there, the container gets loaded onto a ship. That ship then goes to the port. You don't then use a big truck like this to take it anywhere else. There's better ways of doing it. It's just, it's not realistic. Really want to drive up north? Oh yeah, absolutely. I would love to do so. So I wish that they did have the road up to Bergen, so you could do a bit of a loop up the coast and then back down into Sweden again. But I fully understand that for them, it makes no sense. Cyprus is technically Europe too, yeah, Cyprus they could always add in again as like a mini DLC, or as part of like the same one for Greece. That would make sense. There's a couple of cities on there, wouldn't be much different to Corsica, I guess. Can I park here? No, I have to park in the truck spots. I just wanted to park in amongst the cars, you know? One of these things is not like the other. Doesn't count as Europe, but you'd love Turkey? They have Turkey. You can go as far as Istanbul. Turkey does count as Europe. To an extent anyway. It's not the EU, but... yeah, the rest of Turkey would be cool. I don't know if they'll bother. I'd settle for them taking their time to backfill more of the older places. I've been redoing a lot of the roads in Germany, but they could do with adding some more content into likes of Czech Republic, Poland. So there's like 3 or 4 major cities that are in the game in Poland, and there's a lot more that should be there in real life. Like the fact that there's more cities that you can visit in Romania than there are in the Czech Republic or Poland is kind of wrong. So they really need to go back and increase the density in some of the older places. How do I feel about Asian truck sim, African truck sim, or Oceania truck sim? Distances are too great, I think, for it to make much sense for Africa or Asia. Also, the traffic AI would have to be completely broken for it to be realistic, and that would not be fun. I don't think it would make much sense. I think, as it is, it's going to take them a long time to finish doing American truck sim, like finish the rest of the states. I'm hoping they also include the main cities of Canada.
Keep right.
Maybe Mexico would be good. For Euro Truck Sim, I want them to fill in the gaps and then do a bit of backfill. I don't see much room there for anything else. Oceania makes 0 sense because the distances in Australia are too big. and the roads in New Zealand are too shit. So, nice as it would be, doesn't make much sense. Yeah, Oceania is too much nothing. Yeah, it's both. Australia is too much nothing. New Zealand's distances are actually too short, realistically. Like, yeah, it's kind of like the UK, and they already have a different compression rate for the UK. It's also just very long and skinny. But like, we don't have these big roads that I'm driving on now between cities. Yeah, we don't really have those here. Only between two of the northern cities. Half of our state highways are not the sort of roads that you should actually be taking trucks on. They don't have a choice, so you do get big trucks going on them, but it's borderline unsafe a lot of the time. Oriental Truck Simulator would be interesting. You had a bit of China, bit of Japan, bit of Korea. That could be interesting. Just Japan specifically would be quite interesting. But it would also be a lot of just driving around big cities, and that's kind of boring. There are big swaths of countryside, but so much of the urban area is just so sprawled.
Keep right, and then exit right. Exit right.
First thing ProMods does in America is Canada. Yeah, well, Canada is relatively easy to add after all, because you've got only a half dozen main cities. You don't actually have to go... I imagine they do probably go further than you need to, but you don't really have to go too far north. Because after a certain point, you don't actually have roads, right? Certainly not ones where you'd expect big trucks to be travelling. If you want those sorts of things, you play SnowRunner instead. But way back in the days of 18 Wheels of Steel, there was American Long Haul, I think. That had all of the states, that had all of America. The compression was just much higher. And that had the kind of southern bits of Canada. You could drive from Vancouver through Calgary and across to Montreal and stuff. Though they did it, but it was in winter, so you were driving through snow. Whereas with these games now, the time is locked to midsummer pretty much. So you have the longest days and the best weather. Which kind of makes sense.
Keep right, and then exit right. Exit right.
You know, the smallest thing that I really wish that they would add into this game is being able to choose how long you rested for. Like, you've got the minimum amount. I think I've brought it up in pretty much every single stream I've done of this over the last few times. Because driving through the night is not so interesting. And I'd really wish that I could just choose, okay, I need to rest. Yeah, my logbook is telling me I have to sleep. I don't want to sleep for just 8 hours or whatever it is. I want to sleep until it's going to be morning again. Yeah, if I have to sleep from 3 PM, so be it. But I want to clock off until it's like 5 AM instead of driving through the night. I feel the problem with Japan is Tokyo alone is 3 times the population as your country. Yeah. I mean, population's meaningless. Like, it doesn't make much difference. You just have to choose which of the other cities that actually make up the Tokyo area you wanted to also have like depots and stuff in and pickup areas. The equivalent would be how they've rendered Los Angeles in American Truck Simulator. That's the closest you've got so far. You know, it's quite strung out. It's not just one nexus area like most places in this. You get kind of one central area. But Istanbul is a bit more spread out as well. They've started doing that a bit more in the more recent TLCs. And spreading out the big cities a bit better. Oslo in the Scandinavian one is quite spread out because it's around a bay. Tokyo is also around a bay, so it'll be a similar sort of design to Oslo, I guess. And it's just a case of how much they just keep it as being called Tokyo and how much they actually define it by the separate sprawl cities. But that's just like one very small part of the country, right? Well, Los Angeles alone has, I think, at least 3 times the population of New Zealand, so... ATS where you come to a place outside the city, and ATS you physically are in the city and you can see landmarks. There's a bit of that in this as well. Like, they've started doing this more in Euro Truck Simulator in the newer expansions. You can see things on the horizon, and there's a few places that you're driving into it a bit more. But again, it's not quite like that in ATS in the larger cities still. You get a bit of that, but you're not driving right into downtown LA. You know, you're still only visiting the industrial areas. Doesn't make much sense to go to the smaller areas. The main reason for that difference is that the single state DLCs, a lot of the towns you're going to are just a lot smaller anyway.
Keep right. And
I
then
hate that
exit
hitting
right.
the barrier just did like 16% damage to my truck. When it's just
Exit
because
right.
the barrier didn't go up quite fast enough. It's really annoying. See, I don't mind having the damage on, but I wish it was a little bit more representative. A bit more proportional.
Keep left.
Las Vegas is good for that? Yeah, to an extent. Like, you drive through the main drag to an extent, but you're still not going down the strip with the casinos and stuff, I don't think. I think they've been reasonably mindful of whether or not the roads they put in are going to be appropriate for big trucks. And you've got to remember that in Europe especially, a lot of the cities are a lot older. So you are not going to be driving a big truck through downtown Rome. Or around the Arc de Triomphe, if you can help it. It makes no sense. Like, you'll have smaller delivery trucks that are going from the outer depots to get to stores and stuff in those areas. You're really not going to want to have big rigs like this driving through those tiny little back roads from medieval times.
Keep right. And then exit right.
Whereas in America, all of the cities are built with nice, big, wide roads a lot of the
Exit
time.
right.
The exceptions would be some areas in like Boston and places on the eastern coast, where they are much older. But pretty much everything on the Midwest through to the Pacific, you've got nice, big cities and big roads. Why is this not one not opening? Oh, there we go. Oh, it was what, the blue lane, not the yellow lane, so I had to actually stop. Oops. Here is the Vegas Strip. Not really. I don't think it's the same
Get ready to turn left.
I don't know, I don't know Las Vegas well enough, but I don't remember driving past the fake pyramid
Turn
and the
left.
Sphinx and stuff. I don't know, I'll have to go there again and find out. I do mean to play ATS a bit more again as well at some point. Though less to explore the old areas and more to finish off exploring the new areas. Yeah, they've definitely had a bit more of a mind to specific landmarks and a bit more of the unique character of places. But they did also take those sorts of pains a bit more in Iberia and Black Sea, and to a lesser extent Italy. You're not driving past the Leaning Tower or anything, but again, that's not realistic, so... So you've got to be mindful that this is a truck simulator game after all, not a tourist simulator. So you're not going to be going to tourist places just for the sake of it. It's got to make sense to actually have you going there. Where is the Sphinx and Pyramid in the most famous casino? Okay, I can't remember it. I obviously didn't really notice. I also don't know enough about Las Vegas to know if that's where you would really be driving down. I wouldn't really want to be driving through the big cities too much anyway. I find that pretty boring. The small towns are interesting, the big cities are meh. Hey, we're almost halfway there, I think. Time-wise, if not distance-wise. Strips pretty much a 4-lane highway. Ah, well, that makes sense then. For some reason I've always thought of it being more like a 2-lane each way sort of dual carriageway. But like, literally all I really know of the Vegas Strip is what I've seen in music videos, you know. I think I've seen some pictures from there. My parents went there at one point on holiday. They weren't really taking pictures of the road, you know. It was more, that was a base of operations for going to see the Grand Canyon anyway. Yeah, my favourite DLCs and areas are more the small town places, like of Idaho. That's one of the reasons why Wyoming is going to be really cool, I think, because it's a lot of smaller places, a bit more character to them. I mean, even in the older parts of the game, they did make some efforts to have some landmarks in appropriate places. I just remember driving past an interesting looking building in like the Netherlands or something, or might have been even Belgium, and thinking, hey, that's an interesting little, interesting building on the side of the road, and looked up about it, and sure enough, it's a real thing. It's like a fancy hotel or something. And they did make the effort to put it in because it is right next to the main road, so where appropriate, I think they've made some efforts here and there. But otherwise, I'm fine with things just being in the skybox in the background. Grand Canyon, Las Vegas, your office state? No, not really. Las Vegas is right near Hoover Dam, which is the bottom of Lake Mead, which is the end of the Grand Canyon. And a lot of flights, like my parents took a helicopter flight, and it left from near Las Vegas. If you want to go visit there, like drive there yourself, then sure, you've got to go into Arizona or up to Utah, but a lot of the tourism things leave from Las Vegas because that's the easiest place to get to for a lot of tourists from, like, coming across from California. So there's all sorts of offerings there for coach tours, helicopter tours, because they'll work in going over the Hoover Dam. Yeah, Grand Canyon's between Arizona and Utah, predominantly. So it's not far from that part of Nevada. And you know about Arizona, apparently it's only a little hot as hell. Phoenix and further south, Tucson and stuff, they get dreadfully hot. Up in the hills, up around Flagstaff Way, it actually gets pretty chilly. It's a bit more normal in summer, and they get snow in winter. It's quite a diverse state. You got the low altitude deserts of the Sonoran with the saguaro cactus and stuff, and then you've got the high altitude deserts of the Mojave. It's pretty diverse. Yeah, if I was to visit Arizona, I wouldn't want to go in the height of summer because it would be like 40 Celsius. On a good day.
Now.
But in American Truck Simulator, I put my headquarters in Flagstaff in Arizona because I quite like the place. Never been there in real life yet, but it's on the list. Who knows when we'll get there these days, though. Okay, time to head south again.
At the roundabout, take the third exit.
You know what, we're just gonna cut in front here.
Exit now.
That's a lot easier. Should probably have stopped at one of the cities earlier to repair, but I'm not getting frequent malfunctions or anything yet, so that's good.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
Yep,
Exit
I need to
now.
go this way. There we go. Ah, there was a hole here anyway, whatever. Are these the ones that let me through? Gotta be going like 40 or less to get through without hitting the barrier arm. It says 30, but if you hit the area with 40, you're usually good. Completely lost track of where we are now. I think still Italy. Might be France now. How do I do Manosque? I'm guessing France. bought a $200 local currency gaming wheel just to enjoy them more. I have thought about getting a wheel several times. I kind of have the disk space for it, a bit. Not really though. They do take up a bit of room to clamp onto the disc, so, you know. But the main problem with using a wheel is then the rest of the controls aren't as convenient, and you have to use pedals. And I really enjoy using the triggers to accelerate on a controller, and having the thumbsticks and stuff very close at hand. So I've got all the buttons I need pretty much right there on the controller. Don't have to go hunting for anything else. I'm gonna just use the bumpers to change gear if I need to. The triggers to accelerate and brake. I think finding room for a wheel would be hard enough. Finding room for the pedals would be even more difficult and just kind of annoying. But the controls are definitely more responsive with a wheel, that's for sure. That's the bit that would be nice. Better controllers at least a step up from mouse and keyboard, so, you know. It's also more that the controller is useful for other things as well. Like platformer games and stuff use the controller too. Don't really want to be getting that sort of gear just for 1 or 2 games. I don't know, it'd be good practice though, I guess. I don't drive in real life, so it doesn't make any difference to me really in terms of like realism and stuff. If you could drive a car in real life using an Xbox controller, I'd be very happy.
Turn right.
That's what electric cars should do. They should just use a control, like Xbox controller or something. You could still have it mounted on a stick and like turn it, like twist it like a yoke for the steering wheel, I guess. If you had just buttons to do things like changing gear and turning on the lights instead of manual switches to do everything, that'd be pretty cool. Like, I've never really understood, you've got, on a modern car, on the steering wheel, you often have like volume controls and all sorts of random shit for the radio and hands-free calling and all sorts. But you still have like sticks for indicator and stuff. Why don't you just have a button for indicator? Like to click left and right. Like my D-pad, I'd click the right one for the indicator and the left one for the other indicator, and the up for the windscreen wipers and down for the lights. You know. Why is that not a thing on modern steering wheels? Maybe it is on really fancy cars. I remember they were trying to get voice commands a thing at one point, but that's kind of silly because a lot of people like to listen to music or stuff, or podcasts and stuff in their car. It's just going to get really confused. Also, I don't think it would recognize other accents very well. Well, we're past the halfway point now. Still almost 3 hours until I have to sleep, so we can get a little bit further. We'll push on.
Keep right.
Off we go to Toulouse and Montpellier. See, this is why I was trying to take twisty back roads a lot of the way. Just cruising along the motorway is not quite as interesting. This is where I wish that I could be going 150 instead of 90. I'll just try and take a good line anyway to cut down on the distance we're travelling. Every little bit helps. Someone broke down. Don't see the random things too often. I've turned their probability way down, because a lot of the time they're just really annoying. Yep. Over the bridge. No idea what river this is. I feel I should, but can't remember. Two hours until we need to rest. Always stop off in Montpellier, I guess. Although I could just short it and just pull into the rest stop up here. Unfortunately now it's going to be a case of we're going to be driving through the night, I think. Could always sleep twice though.
Rerouting. Recomputing.
Okay, stop there. Get some rest. So what does this take it to? 1906. Can we just rest again? Yeah, let's just do it again. 406. Yeah, still a bit early, but that's fine. We're just going to take a short break now as well.
in a writer, I'm looking for somebody who brings everything to the table. You know, who brings the heart, who brings their vision, and particularly who bring their brain to the table. So that they're aware of what they're doing and they're making conscious choices.
And we're back. Let's check the map, see how far we are. Okay, motorway run as far as this. Yeah, probably just as well we stop to rest there, because I don't see too many places along. Yeah, take that route there through to Barcelona at some point. It's direct to go this way, just for funsies. You're currently in Estonia. Oh, fair enough. I do need to go back up there at some point as well. I think I've got some unfinished business. Yeah, quite a few roads that I haven't travelled around here. Actually, Estonia's not too bad. It's mostly Latvia. Kinda want to get back to 100% on the map explored, but that's quite a bit of work to do. We're at 3/4 of the way there. I guess if I want to do that, I should make sure I do it before Russia comes out, eh? Not in real life. I gathered not in real life. Off we go. Goodbye sign. Why they put the signs right there, I don't know. There's not enough room turning circle-wise to avoid it.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
This is a roundabout? Okay. If you say so.
Exit now.
Well, hopefully it'll be sunrise soon. Few minutes you'll be in Finland. Nice. I think after I've done a bit more exploration in Iberia,
Keep left.
I want to go to all of the towns and cities and all the viewpoints at minimum. Gonna spend some time just doing some exploration there. Then I do need to head back up to the Baltic. I pretty much just did the ring road in Finland. I didn't really go between the cities much. The GPS that definitely has a gun to your head. Yeah, more a knife to your throat is more Geralt style. He's just sitting in my passenger seat with his crossbow out. See, if I'd just been able to specify, just let me sleep a little bit longer, just get to like 6 AM. Then we wouldn't have this dark bit of just driving through the night. I think that was weird. Trees on the side of the road there. Duck. Don't care about talking GPS, don't think it's much of an inconvenience to look down at the GPS. See, the problem is that a lot of the time, I won't be looking at the GPS properly, and there's been so many times that I've missed turnings. There's quite a few cases where the GPS saying, you know, keep left, or turn left, or something. It's like, oh yeah, I need to actually get off this road. Because otherwise I just get too distracted just looking at the scenery. This is another reason I don't drive in real life. Far too easily distracted. I'll either be talking about something with chat, or I'll just be gazing around, looking in my mirror, looking at the countryside, and then completely miss the fact, even though my GPS is right there and it has a big red line indicating where I should be going,
left.
I'll just completely miss where I should be taking. Like, it's fine if it's just staying on the road, but like if it was saying turn right there, I probably would have missed it otherwise. You just reverse to your exit on the highway. Yeah, there's always that as well, but I'd rather avoid doing that if I can. It's also just funny to have the GPS on, especially when I've been doing just map exploration, because it'll be trying to tell me to go a particular way and I'll just keep going where I shouldn't. So it just gets really exasperated and tells me I have to do a U-turn and stuff. And that's just funny. It's also just the novelty factor. Like, if it wasn't that voice, then I probably wouldn't bother. If it was just a normal voice telling me what to do, then I'd probably not bother with it.
Keep right, and then exit right.
Off we go to Toulouse. It would be nice to go
Exit
straight
right.
through at some point. We'll make sure that we go through to Barcelona another time. Maybe we'll come back that way if we get the chance. It is a nice road going down to Barcelona along the coast. I've actually gone there in real life. Not all the way to Barcelona, but part way. We were in the south of France at one point. Unfortunately, I think that's the main road there. We took the coastal route. That's probably the one we came back on, actually, the motorway. The coastal route is one that you wouldn't take a truck on, but it was nice in the car. Want your GPS to swear at you when you miss your exit? Yeah. The Gordon Ramsay GPS, that's what we need. Next left, you donkey. You've missed your exit. What are you? An idiot sandwich. That's what you are. Yeah, that's the GPS we need. Here's some of the scenery. I don't know what town that is, but it's a nice one. It's one of the nice old medieval kind of keeps. It's cool. Belvedere. Alright. Through the French countryside. All the wineries, I'm guessing. That'll be grapes. Okay, almost off the boring roads. Well, kind of. At least it'll be a new road. Two loose south exits. Good for fuel, good for rest. We'll probably make it the rest of the way now. Wouldn't surprise me. What does it reckon in terms of fuel consumption? 1600 Ks, yeah, we've only got 1100 to go. And then drive time wise, 9 hours, and it's apparently 14 hours. I guess we'll probably need to stop to rest again at some point. In GPS it sounds like Siri just swear at you. Yeah, get someone like a posh English accent GPS that just calls you a pillock. That'd be good.
Keep right, and then exit right. Exit right.
Up we go. Off to Beyond. I guess this road kind of cuts along the Pyrenees foothills. I don't remember if you actually go through Andorra or anything. There's the southern part of Toulouse.
Keep right.
I kind of wish that they just put in more depots and stuff in place, because that looks like an industrial area. Just squeeze in a couple of other depots. Just more places to visit and more cities would be nice. Just how many French flags do you need? Squeeze through the gap. Realistic depot, like one with 50 trailers in a row. Yeah, something that's a lot more intense. Yeah, that's one thing that I've always felt right from the early days of the game. The depots just feel too cramped, just a bit too confined. You get ones with large warehouse buildings and stuff. And some of the newer ones have places for more trucks along the front, like a dozen or so. Might be a dozen or so trailers along the front. Even some of the older ones had a few, but it never felt like there's enough room to actually maneuver. They're always really tight. Now part of that, I guess, is the difficulty of getting you to manually park and stuff, but yeah, it's just not really appropriate. Like, you're always going to have it designed well enough that you can maneuver properly, so it just doesn't seem quite right. There's a couple of the templates of the early ones in particular where just the gateway, the archway to get into them is really thin and really narrow. And you just feel like you're going to scrape your wing mirrors off every time you go through. But this doesn't seem right for a truck depot. The container yards are a bit more like that. They've got the big rail depots and the big container docks. Those are a bit more appropriate. But they've still got a lot of the smaller ones in towns. Game since 2019. Yeah, I'm meaning like just the older areas, like the base game zones. England, France,
Keep
Germany.
right.
Now they've been
Then
redoing
exit
some
right.
of the French and German cities at least, but the depot templates are
Exit
still
right.
pretty old and pretty cramped. Let's just drive around this a little bit. So I could be able to explore a bit of this when we come in
Go
from
straight.
the other direction as well, because it's a rest area that's meant to go both. We go this way this time, then we'll work out
Go straight.
turning the rest of it gold another time. We don't actually need to stop here. And back we go onto the main road. Hopefully it's not going to be one of those ones where it's like one half gets explored and the other half you have to come back the other way, but we can probably figure that out next time. France-based game is tiny, yeah, you only went as far as Paris pretty much in the original. It was like a half dozen northern cities or something. But that's because they wanted to keep the rest of it for the main France expansion, the Vive la France expansion. And then they fleshed it out a lot more. I mean, France is a big place, so... You got Iberia but not France? I'm not sure if you could. Like, it probably just wouldn't let you install it. Steam usually has the warnings that requires X. Like, it'll probably say that it requires base game and the France DLC. So you might be able to buy it, but I don't think you'd be able to install it, or if you did, you probably wouldn't be able to use it. And it would be 100% your fault, because I'm fairly sure it warns you. I haven't looked, because I have them, so it's not something I've had to consider. At one point I thought they also changed it, so rather than just buying the base game, the base package that you bought included a couple of DLCs. I thought it included Going East and Vive la France now, but I could be wrong. Because that would be the other way to do it. It's like, okay, those ones have been out for long enough that there's no point charging extra separately for them. If people are buying the game from scratch, just basically make them free DLCs or something, because they've just become prerequisites. Like, you need Going East to get to the Black Sea and the Baltic now as well. that in ATS, removed Idaho, Oregon but not Washington. Launched fine, Washington loaded, you just can't get to it. Okay, interesting. That's the other thing, is that maybe they just have some logic in there that, okay, you've got Iberia installed, but you don't have France. That's cool. We know the road layout. You can take the main road, like the motorway, but you can't get off. Just have it with the yellow crosses or whatever. Just say that, okay, well, this is where you're meant to be able to go, but we're not going to actually let you. That would work. Depends how much smarts they put into it. Seems like a pretty niche case, though. It's not one that I'd personally bother with if I was them. I'd just err on the side of just have a warning. Just inform players that if you try to do this, it won't make sense. Actually, no. It does make sense, because I remember observing before that there is a seaport on the northern side of Spain that goes through to the UK, and the UK is part of the base game, so no, it's perfectly fine. You'll be able to get to Iberia, but you'll only be able to get to it by ferry, probably from Plymouth. Get to Iberia through Italy? Well, that's a separate expansion as well. And can you? I thought the ferry had to go through Corsica, which is part of the France expansion, I think. Curious now. Let's take a look at the map. Oh no, that's a direct ferry that goes through, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so Napoli does go through to Barcelona. Yep. But again, that's only if you've got the Italy DLC. If you have the base game, but you don't have France or Italy, then the only way that you'd get in is from Plymouth. You would be able to take the ferry to Bilbao or Santander from Plymouth. So either way, they did think of it. You'd be fine. I think Black Sea is the one that you'd still struggle if you didn't have prerequisite. You need going east at the very least, because that's kind of the nexus for there. If you had Baltic but not Scandinavia, you'd be fine, because there's the Travemund ferry, or Travemund or Rostock? I think Travemund. Either way, there's a ferry that goes up there, so you'd be fine either way. So yeah, I've got around it by just the sea routes instead. So yeah, if you had the base game and only Iberia, you'd be fine. You'd just have to go from Plymouth. Also, if you just have the base game and Iberia and Italy but not France, what are you doing? Like, it's a very weird order of operations to get things. Imagine a job from Paris to Barcelona without France. Okay, go to the UK. I mean, real-time wise, that would probably be quicker, because ferries don't take very long. You just boost over to Calais and then pop down to Plymouth, and from Santander drive to Barcelona. It's probably quicker than driving over land from Paris all the way down to Barcelona. That's the big difference between in-game time and real-time speedruns of this game. For the real-time, you can do funky things with ferries. Like the Edinburgh to London run, you drive to Newcastle, take a ferry to Amsterdam, drive to Rotterdam, and take a ferry from there across to the UK again, and then drive as close to London as you need to be able to use the service, call for services, to be able to just warp straight to London. Versus the in-game time run, where you have to drive south from Edinburgh to London, because taking ferries takes too long in-game. It would be like 2 days instead of 4 hours.
Keep left.
Because money is hire a worker, go on a ferry over and over. Yeah, exactly. Pretty boring thing to do, but I mean, you don't even need a ferry. Like in ATS where you don't have ferries, you just park up and you can rest, I think, 3 times in a row, and then you have to drive a little bit, call services in order to trigger time, or just take a delivery and then cancel a delivery because that advances time by an hour. But then you forfeit $10,000, so you don't want to do that. But yeah, you can just rest constantly. Because there's a category for a certain amount of garage revenue, and after you do enough yourself to be able to hire drivers and get like a big loan, you hire as many drivers as you can, and then you just sleep. Just to jump time forward. Ferry from Port Angeles and... Oh yeah, well there is now. Yeah, there never used to be. Engine malfunctions, my old friend. Hey, we made it this far without any, so that's good. Seems we need to drive on the other direction of this road. Come on, why did you not make it that I could just drive straight through without a barrier? Those are my favourite toll booths. I think they're the Scandinavian ones. You can just bust straight through without having to actually stop or slow down. Let's go up and through the services, because I don't think we have, and I'm fairly sure the main road is gold. Yep. So let's just do this.
Turn right.
AI drivers. Gotta love them. It's also the shortest ferry until they add in Hawaii or Alaska. Yeah, I don't think they're going to bother with those somehow. You never know, but I think they'd at the very least leave them till last. Okay, why am I getting so many engine malfunctions now? It is only 26%. Come on, guys. Delivery itself is fine, still at least. Oh, I never got this. The, oh no, I did get the garage, but there's a question mark in Bilbao. Actually, no, I haven't actually purchased the garage, it's just there. Well, maybe we take a little diversion. My dad in Alaska's read in northern countries and uses too. Exactly, yeah. Alaska wouldn't make much sense. There's like 4 towns that they could do. I mean, it's sealed going north from Anchorage to... I can't remember the name of it, but there is a town up there. There is sealed roads that go all the way up to the northern oil fields to an extent, but there's just nothing really there. It's like, why bother? Getting to Juneau would be fun because you can only get there by boat. But now, if you want to drive in Alaska, play SnowRunner. If you want to drive in Hawaii, get Test Drive Unlimited too. Because then you can zoom around Oahu in a Bugatti Veyron instead. I don't know, at some point it might be fun to play around and get the pro mod
Never
stuff.
mind.
And
I'll find a new route.
how do I actually get
Keep right.
into the city from here? Can I not? That confuses me. That intersection confuses me. How am I supposed to get right? Because I thought that I'd be able to just go off here, but I can't. Oh, you have to go south and then go north through. That is a terrible intersection. Like, I have to assume it's not normally like that in real life, but then if it wasn't, why would they do that? Is there no exit from this or something? Oh, well, I guess that's a problem for another time. We'll just keep going for now. That's very bizarre. What a confusing intersection. Main base in ETS2, Prague. Which is why I am driving from Prague all the way to Spain again, because after map changes I always get reset back to Prague. I mean, I do sometimes just use the garage warp feature just to jump back to where I was, but a lot of the time I just enjoy taking a big long delivery instead. I think halfway through the original Iberia event, when I was trying to complete my personal goal for the community event, they did like a tiny update and it caused me to be reset back to Prague again. And I didn't bother driving back at that point. I had been buying garages, so I just warped back down here because I was not about to waste an entire stream driving all the way back here again, because they decided to fix a tiny little thing. It was like a road tweak in France or something. There was no reason why they should have had to reset anyone back to their garage. What did I choose there? I honestly can't remember. Isn't that where the company's actually based? That might have been it. I feel SCS is based in Prague or something, aren't they? It was also from Mankind Divided, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. That's set in Prague, and because the front company that your character is working for is like a logistics company, supposedly. So I just borrowed that name. So my company name is Praha do Oz for that reason. It was also a nice central place to start up and be located.
Right, and then exit right.
Actually, I guess it wasn't that central.
Exit right.
It's in the Going East DLC, I think, isn't it? So I guess it's
At
central.
the roundabout, take
North-south
the
wise.
third exit.
I don't know, I was more interested in Eastern Europe than
Exit now.
the UK or Germany. Actually, I should probably drive into town, eh? Yeah, I'll actually just go around the roundabout and go back again.
Take the third exit.
Or I can actually go right here. Yeah, let's go down and discover this depot.
Okay. Let's
I'm also
find
going to
a
go to
new
the
route.
services, because these little... Actually, is there services?
Make a
No.
U-turn now.
I needed to go
Rerouting.
to Bilbao for services.
When possible, make a U-turn.
Yes, your software is based there. Yeah, so I think that was the other reason. I think I wanted to be based in the same place
Please
that the company
make
was
a
based.
U-turn when possible.
And then, yeah, just took the name inspiration from Mankind Divided. I think I originally had a profile. I think it was before because I think they added in Steam Cloud functionality a lot later. Because I did play the game first ages ago, like back when it first came out pretty much. And I'm fairly sure I was based in Newcastle or something then. I can't remember why I thought that was a good idea, but I based myself somewhere in the north of the UK when I first started playing the game. But between computer upgrades, I lost my profile.
Exit now.
Because I think it was before Steam Cloud saving was a thing. So I had to start from scratch again on this computer, basically, or on this iteration of hard drives, put it that way. Because my hard drive actually completely died at one point. So I had to completely start from scratch again in terms of operating system and everything. I only had some things backed up.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
I don't think it was high level anyway. I think it was probably maybe level 20 or something at most. And yeah, this was way back in the base game anyway. So then when I got back into playing again, then I decided to base myself. I think going east or something, I think it might have been just before the Scandinavian expansion came out, I picked up some of the other DLCs and started playing again. And that's when I, started from scratch, based myself in Prague. Shippers not on Ships Inc. I like it.
Keep right.
I mean, normally my company names, like, I'm fairly sure my company name in ATS is just like Chimera Contracting or something, so pretty unoriginal there.
Turn left, and then continue straight. Go straight.
I'm just going to spend some time discovering the city
let's
here.
Find a new route.
Because you never know when I'm actually going to get the chance to come back
U-turn.
This one is kind of out of the way, so...
Finding new route.
Now we just turn around. And this is where we get to piss off the GPS.
Turn right. Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
You do take ferries, yeah. True, but, you're not the one driving the ship, I guess, so... Ship is not operating ships, how's that? Gets around the ferry problem. Not gonna lie, Snoz just makes me think of these snozberries taste like snozberries. From Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I know that was a Z, not an S, but still.
Never mind.
My mind goes to strange places.
Make a U-turn now. Rerouting.
Yep.
Okay, let's find a new route. Please make a U-turn when possible.
Yep. Making a U-turn now. Kind of. Less a U-turn, more a three-point turn, I think. I know, easy with a trailer. Seriously, Geralt, do you know anything? I guess we go down towards where the ferry is as well, because I've got no reason to take that ferry otherwise.
roundabout, take the first exit.
Can I push my way in front? Beep beep bummer truck.
Exit now.
A truck with a broken engine, unfortunately. At one point the GPS would tell you to make a U-turn on a highway with a median. Brilliant. Yeah, I have definitely had a few times where the GPS has gotten a bit confused. It depends on how they've classified things under the hood in the game, because there's a few places where it'll say, like, turn right, but it's actually the main right of way. Like, the alternative would be turning left instead.
When possible,
And it'll also,
make a U-turn.
it'll always tell you to do a U-turn. But yeah,
Turn
sometimes
left.
the GPS route finder itself will get confused and it'll think that you can like use a services to turn around or something, even though
At the
there's a
roundabout,
median barrier
take
there.
the second exit.
I'm sure real-world GPSs have the
Exit
same
now.
problem sometimes.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
I remember when GPS was first just becoming a
Turn
thing,
right.
like vehicle GPS first got introduced, there were so many stories of people who just blindly followed GPSs and ended up going down roads they should never have gone down, and roads that weren't actually roads and stuff. So it definitely happens.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Oh, new viewpoint. Nice. That's one of the other reasons we're here. I'm glad I came this way. That's probably what the other thing is in Bilbao, actually, because there's very few things that just remain as question marks these days.
Please make a U-turn when possible.
Let's enjoy the view, shall we? Yeah, don't go this way, your GPS is wrong. Yeah. Film crew, random. I really want them to add more viewpoints into the older parts of the game. Okay, I feel a random shot of the warehouse isn't that necessary, but alright. That's more like it, yeah. Just more scenic vistas, guys. Now, I do need to drive onto the boat to get it to turn gold. So let's just jackknife real quick. There we go. That's all we need. We don't want to actually go to Plymouth.
Get ready to turn left. Turn left.
Yeah, let's just drive through here, screw it. Makes no difference to me. hear the in-game player yawn even though you're flying through the
Get
city.
ready
Yeah,
to
it's
turn left.
because you're still technically in your cab and time still moves
Turn
because
left.
they render it in real time. So it's always going to match
At
the
the
time of day
roundabout,
that you're there and
take the
stuff.
first
And
exit.
they want to have the pedestrians move, and the
Exit
cars
now.
move, and things like that. So it makes sense, but it is amusing. I mean, you can hear your player yawn even when you're in like this view and stuff, right? The scenic views. That's a nice little pond down there. Okay, have we turned every part of this town gold yet? This was the mistake that I was making earlier. That I didn't go around that roundabout properly. Okay. Oh well. Gotta treat every city like I'm never coming back here again, basically. You can also hear the radio inside your truck, outside your truck, and in the menu. Ah, no. I don't think normally you can. I'm not listening to in-game music though, so... I've never used the in-game radio feature. I think you can put your own music into a folder and get it to play it for you, but I'm fairly sure it screws up when you're going through loading screens, and I think that it only plays when you're in your cab, because menus have their own music. I want to go this way, because
Find a new route.
want to turn more grey
At
gold.
the roundabout, take the third exit. Keep right.
I'm definitely going to have to come back here and tidy up some of these intersections.
Recomputing. Okay, let's find a new route. Make a U-turn now.
Okay, so the in-game radio does work. I always just use a separate application. Like for listening to my own music off my own hard drive, I just use Winamp still, and
Turn left.
these days when I'm playing this I usually have
Rerouting.
Pretzel, and I use that even if I'm just playing offline these days as well.
At the roundabout, take the third exit.
Oh yeah, I was meant to sleep, wasn't I? I guess
Exit
I'm
now.
going back into the city then. We're spending a lot of time in this city. Yeah, I was meant to sleep up here by the ferry. This works quite well. So I want to go around this roundabout entirely. I'm still going to miss this bit, unfortunately. There's just no helping that.
Okay, here we go.
+40 songs in the in-game radio. I would struggle to have that few songs. What I'd
At
end
the
up doing
roundabout,
is just
Take
nominating
the sixth exit.
Take the sixth exit. That's how you know it's a complicated roundabout. Because I think the other thing is you have to put files in a
Keep
specific
right.
directory. I don't think you can just nominate a directory. And that annoys me because I don't want to just have copies of music files.
Exit now.
I'd rather just have them all in one place and just play them myself.
At the roundabout, take the second exit. Exit now.
Because what I usually do is queue up music from other games. I've got a big playlist of other game soundtrack music. But any time that I'm recording, whether it's streaming or offline for YouTube for speedruns and stuff, then I want to be using Pretzel because it's like copyright free. It's got like a YouTube safe option as well. Where's it at when my video's muted? Okay, back we go again. Because I forgot that I was actually supposed to sleep.
Keep right, and then exit right.
Got too caught up in the excitement of the viewport. Viewpoint.
Exit right. Turn right.
We've still got to do the last leg of this journey as well. We're not even that close. Just been wasting a lot of time. At least we're pushing the amount of time that I'll be resting closer to nighttime.
At the roundabout, take the 4th exit.
If I go overtired a bit, then that's fine. I'm just going to go around this roundabout twice. This is a tiny roundabout.
Exit now.
Yeah, nah.
Never mind. I'll find a new route. Exit now.
There we go. Satisfied the completionist. Yeah, normally I'll have a playlist if I need game music from a game that doesn't have one or that I don't like or something, then it'll be
take the 1st exit.
like the Skyrim soundtrack, Witcher soundtracks, Warcraft soundtrack, Everspace soundtrack now that I've started playing that. Deus Ex, Cloudpunk. A lot of games with good soundtracks. Okay. No, it's just after midnight. Oops. I was going to turn my engine off and sleep again. That's the advantage with the external contracts. You don't need to worry about a real-time time limit. Or a in-game time limit rather. It's a real-time time limit instead. And now we drive through the day again.
Get ready to turn left.
This game to find it boring at the same time. I mean, I can understand if people find it boring to watch because it's not quite the same as when you're doing it yourself. I find these bits engaging because it's kind of, I mean, I'm introducing a problem-solving element to myself anyway in, like, discovering roads in the best way and the fatigue management and stuff. I'm, you know, adding my own little challenges in and just driving around either back roads or cities I find more interesting. I do find long motorway trips boring. That's one of the reasons why, like I was saying earlier, I'm less looking forward to Russia and Texas, because there'll just be lots of big, long, boring interstates. And like, I really like the American Truck Simulator zones, and certainly the smaller states, but I like most the ones that have nice twisty small roads instead of just long big stretches of highway. Because then it's less of a challenge to execute something and to actually do something, and more of a challenge just to keep concentrating on it. It's like that with a lot of games. Like X3 I used to really enjoy playing, but after a while it's just so much just travelling between jump gates and stuff, it just got a bit boring.
Keep right.
Okay, now if I
exit right.
do this, is it going to discover both sides? No, so I have to come back and do the other side.
Exit right.
Okay, yeah, so that intersection's a mess and we're going to have to come back and clean that up some other time, but that's okay. That's fine. Let's just get moving. Get through to our destination. Gonna hate mid-America. Yeah, that's the thing, is the likes of Nebraska and the others, I don't know, I can't even think of their names off the top of my head. Yeah, a lot of those Midwest states are just gonna be boring. It's just gonna be driving through prairies. Hopefully they'll find ways to make them a bit more interesting. I don't know. You're gonna struggle though. They're really going to have to try and put more small towns in, so you've got a bit of something to break up the monotony. Kansas, yeah, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska. The Dakotas, South Dakota, I guess, at least, yeah. The Dakotas have their interesting bits, like driving through the Badlands will be alright. But yeah, the big flat prairie areas are going to be pretty boring. That's the thing, I feel my excitement in the state DLCs for ATS is going to wane a little bit until they get closer to the East Coast. Like, Wyoming I am hyped for. Texas, yeah, will be interesting, and it will have cool bits, it'll also have boring bits. Until they get across to... I don't even know where it'll have to be, but basically once you've got to get to the likes of the Appalachians, the Adirondacks before it actually gets interesting again, right? When you could literally just have a DLC that's like the prairie states and just whack in the Midwest and just have roads going straight through them. Just ignore them. Most boring state in ATS would be, I don't know, one of those basically. Whichever one is the one that's the most square and the most featureless. I don't know my Midwest states very well. The ones that have the Mississippi going through them have at least that going for them, which is nice. But the ones that are basically just squares with farms, that's not going to be very interesting. Make Rhode Island is Rhode Island, hopefully they'll include with New York. Why am I hyped for Wyoming? Because it's got mountains and shit, right? I know it's got a bit of flat area as well, but it has some interesting aspects to it. It's diverse at least. Literally Colorado. Colorado had some interesting bits in it. It's got some mountain areas. Did it not? Am I getting my states confused again? Wasn't Colorado the one they just did? I think Montana would probably be more boring, wouldn't it be? I gone on a convoy yet? No, I have not. I don't have much interest in the convoy mode at all. I don't play this game to play multiplayer. Oh yeah, I'm actually going to push it on fuel now, aren't I? Yeah, oh well, let's stop up here. I've tried out the multiplayer of this. I tried Truckers MP once. And I mean, it was alright, but I mean, obviously that suffered from the fact that you couldn't guarantee getting the same deliveries and stuff, so Convoy definitely has some advantages on that. It just works better with the game, so you can at least take the same delivery to the same place as other people. But at the same time, it's kind of boring. Like, what benefit is there in doing that? I don't know. It's not like you're both taking two different parts of a delivery to complete anything. It's not like in SnowRunner. If you play multiplayer in SnowRunner, then you can help each other by like winching each other out of trouble and stuff, and complete deliveries in like in tandem, I'm fairly sure. So you could have one person carrying one type of good and another person carrying another and complete an objective or something. I think you can do that. But regardless, you can at least interact meaningfully with each other. You can't really do that in this.
Recomputing.
Maybe if you could exchange fuel or something, then that would be something.
Finding new route.
Like if someone ran out of gas,
let's find a new
then
route.
you could like stop in front of them and exchange some fuel with them or something. But yeah. Yeah, in real life, let's see if they need multiple goods. Yeah, absolutely. If you need more than you can fit in a single double train, then sure. But if that's the case, you just whack them on a train anyway, really. So yeah, I mean, you can simulate that. You can kind of roleplay that being the circumstance to justify doing a convoy. But, as I say, without a meaningful interaction between your trucks, like, other than probably the ability to crash into each other, which you don't want to do. I mean, you could race, obviously, but you could also just do that independently. Now, you don't need to be playing in the same session to do that. Obviously, then you could, like, maybe crash into each other and sabotage each other or something if you really wanted to, but I feel there's better games to do that. It's in, like, multiplayer in this sort of game is just an odd idea. New Zealand, yeah. There seems to be a thing, a bit of an obsession that people have with some games. It's like, oh, does it have multiplayer? You should add multiplayer. I want to be able to play this with my friends. It's like, honestly, you're probably going to get just the same enjoyment if you're just on a call with your friends while you're playing it independently. It's not going to make any difference. To have a game meaningfully multiplayer, you really need to have something, some purpose to why are you working together, how are you working together. And I don't think this really fits that mold. Australian road trains, yeah, those are cool. That would be one thing with if they did do some sort of Oceania truck simulator, is like after you got to a certain level, instead of like the special transport DLCs that you have for ATS and ETS2 where it's like the big heavy cargoes, I feel that then they'd be able to put in like a road train DLC where you drive one of those massive ones through the outback. That would be kind of cool. It would also be kind of boring because it's just long, straight roads of nothing, but I know some people would just find the experience cool. You definitely get some cool scenery in parts of Australia and stuff as well. It's quite diverse because it's kind of tropical up north and temperate down south, but yeah, it's just so big. Sharing your truck sim would probably be like Queensland and that's it, yeah. Well, that's the thing, is they'd probably start with New South Wales because more people know Sydney. So you'd probably start with New South Wales, and it would have to be a different scale, I think, for a start. And you'd have to include, so you'd have like Sydney, Newcastle, something in the beyond the Blue Mountains, I guess. You'd have to have, you'd be including smaller places for the sake of having content, basically. Chuck in the Bathurst track just for a bit of fun, that'd be cool. And then, yeah, you just, like, introduce the different states as extra DLCs, I guess. You'd be able to include New South Wales and ACT, I guess. So you'd be able to go to Canberra. And then you'd add in South Australia, Victoria, Queensland. Probably include Tasmania with one of the southern ones. Then Northern Territories. And then Western Australia. Western Australia is so much nothing, though. I mean, I'm sure someone's done it. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a pro mods for that. All it takes is someone who's passionate enough about something. I just think of any map mod for any game. Just need someone to be willing to dedicate that amount of time to something. I don't know, if I was 15 years younger and still at school, then it's the sort of thing that I'd probably have done or attempted to do and kind of half-assed it for a laugh. Vietnamese roads are so terrifyingly cool. Yeah, that would be a very different experience. I feel that the entire game, like, you wouldn't even have traffic fines as an option because it just wouldn't make any sense to. Like, what even are road rules in places like that? I think you'd also have to have smaller trucks be the norm instead of like massive ones like this where you've got like semi-cab and trailer. You'd probably be mostly driving a truck and trailer unit of varying sizes. So it would be a different sort of game. Vietnamese truck simulator would probably start with you owning a van and driving around the city, and then maybe upgrading to having a smaller truck that you can go out into some of the regions, like deliver from the cities out to the regions or something. You never want to be honking constantly.
And then exit right.
Yeah, road suggestions, that's the one.
Exit right.
Like, just for the sake of the scenery, I absolutely agree that something set around the Orient would be cool.
At the roundabout,
around India would be cool.
Second exit.
But at the same time, it would be so chaotic.
Keep right.
Like, even
Exit
minimal
now.
traffic would have you, like, stuck in things for so long.
Turn left.
Oh, that's right, this was just another sidetrack. This wasn't even my destination. Well, I've already filled up.
Get ready to turn left.
Oops, I was on the wrong side of the road there.
Turn left.
Chinese knockoff of ETS2? That does not surprise me.
Recomputing.
All the crazy bikers, yeah. Actually, yeah, you wouldn't start with a van, you would start being a delivery person on a scooter, and you'd, like, put a fridge on the back of your scooter.
Get ready to turn
That's
left.
what you'd start with. And eventually you'd save up and be able to buy a van.
Turn left.
I mean, of Europe, you mean of China? Well, yeah, it'd be kind of pointless having a
At the
game
roundabout,
set in Europe
Take the third exit.
in China. And that's the other thing with, like, SCS, if they wanted to do something
Rerouting.
like that, is they'd probably have to be aware that there might be other things. Also, you
When
would want to
possible, make a U-turn.
piss off China as a company. Probably a bad move. I think if they were going to do an official game based around that area, I think Japan would be the better one to stick with.
At the roundabout, take the first exit. Exit now.
Okay, now we find our way out
Get
again.
ready to turn right.
We'll probably never come back here again. It's a nice little town.
Turn right.
Very scenic. This would be a nice place to visit in real life. If you were on a trip along the coast, this would be a really nice place to stop for lunch or something. Everyone forgets there's an ETS1 and you don't know why SCS gave up on it. Because it's old as shit. You don't keep supporting old games. I have ETS1. I've done speedruns of it. It was cool for its time, but it is so dated. The engine is terribly old. The AI is so stupid. Like, why would you want to perpetuate that? Like, why wouldn't they give up on it? They have a better one. The same reason any game developer gives up on the first iteration of the series.
Keep right.
You build off that
Never
and make a
mind.
better product.
I'll find a new route. Keep right.
Don't get me wrong, I really loved ETS1 when I first played it back in the day, but it has not aged well. It's fun
Finding
for the
new
sake of
route.
it, but yeah, it has really not aged well.
Keep right. Exit now.
Okay, if I come back the other way, then I can just get off there, come over here, go round the roundabout, and get off the exit again. Sweet. Been doing a job from Warsaw to Tampere. Nice. Got 42 grand in game money. Yeah, well, I mean, this entire stream I've been doing this delivery, I'm going to get 85 euro, 86,000 euro at the end of this. And we've taken, like, I don't know, twice as long as I needed to because I changed the route to go on smaller roads to make it more interesting, and have been sidetracking a lot to discover more roads in these little cities that I'll probably never come back to, so we've been making the fun last longer. Because now we have another boring motorway stretch that we can get off at this exit up here, probably, just to go out to whatever depot that is. Or we might leave that because I'm going to have to come back this road the other direction at some point. And at that point I may as well go off and go down there. Depends what the exit's like. Yeah, I love doing these long deliveries. I prefer it when it's a higher value cargo, like this is just used packaging that I'm carrying. Oh, damn malfunctions. That's the other thing, is I don't mind the damage mechanism, but the engine malfunctions are just arbitrarily stupid. Okay, it's a big roundabout, sweet. So what I'll do is I'll get off here, because...
Okay,
Oh no,
let's
I
find a new
haven't
route.
gone that way. Well, that's interesting.
At the roundabout,
That's actually kind of annoying.
take the second exit. Keep right.
So I
Exit
actually
now.
need to go back the other way. Interesting. Well, we can do that. Bloody engine malfunctions again. Just gonna go back this way a little bit. Ever since Iberia, you can see Africa on the map.
Recomputing.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're going to add, like, Morocco or something.
Rerouting.
Just start working their way along North Africa. That'd be kind of interesting, because there's a fair amount of trade that does go on between some of the countries. Now, are you going to let me turn around? Just going to pop over here. Hope that no one's coming up this lane.
Recomputing.
And we're just going to reserve my spot. Turn around. And we'll just go back up and down again.
Never mind.
Doubt
I'll
it?
find a
Yeah,
new
I
route.
don't know. I didn't think they were going to add on Russia any further than what they already had for St. Petersburg and Kaliningrad, but
At the roundabout,
they are, so
take the
who
second
knows?
exit.
It'd be kind of cool if they added in Morocco
Keep
and
right.
Tunisia. Be something quite different.
Exit now.
I don't think there'd be any point in extending it any further along than that. Especially since, like, Libya's quite volatile still, I think. Egypt is a bit kind of sketchy these days. I'd rather they focus their efforts on backfilling more places in existing locations first, but I mean, they couldn't really do that and make money off it because it's DLCs that have already been released. So if they want to keep making money out of the exercise, then they need to also add in new places. So it does make sense to throw in like a Morocco DLC or something. They do with Yugoslavia or like Kosovo and stuff. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why that region has taken so long to actually get an expansion out for it, is because it's kind of a politically charged region. So it is a good question of what do you do. I mean, at the end of the day, you just take the official line on it. It's like, well, Kosovo is a place. You know, other people around that area might not like it, but
right.
they are their own thing. And just stick to it. It's like, well, if they're recognised by the UN, then they can be recognised by a game. Can't get too precious about it. Like, at the end of the day, you can just brush it off by saying, well, this is a game, we are representing geographical locations, we are not interested in the politics of the situation. Ow. And yeah, more Turkey would be interesting as well. So it isn't recognised yet? I thought it was for some reason. Is it one of those things where someone keeps vetoing it or some shit? Yeah, I can understand it might have been taking them a bit long about that. There's also some random area up the top of like Croatia and stuff, which is kind of contested. But again, it's like, well, this is
Keep
how
right,
it is.
and then
We're just
exit
going
right.
to do that. And at the end of the day, if people don't like it, then they don't have to play it, right?
Exit right.
If governments get pissy about it, then you just shrug and say, oh well, we're just a games company. Crunch, 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 crunch. Shoulder was a little bit narrower than I would have liked. You know which the best lane to take is. €2, oh my god. Ah, it's China and Russia, yeah, of course. I mean, a country like China is never going to take kindly on encouraging parts of other countries to break off and have independence, are they? Are kind of the opposite. Where are we going? That's too short for me. Guessing I had to go further to the right. Yeah, there's this lane here. I don't have a good angle for it anymore. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. Okay, back it up. Is it gonna make me pay the toll again? That'd be kind of funny. Oh, I keep hitting. Okay, now we have the angle. And yes, I need to pay again. Oh well, whatever. Oh no, €2. Edit is the retaliation for the Chinese knockoff. Yes, perfect. At the end of the day, they just need to kind of have a think and realize, okay, who is actually going to care about this? You're an independent game development company. You don't need to worry about sensitive geopolitics. Not to that extent. Again,
Keep
just
right, and then
it's a case
exit
of,
right.
this is a place. We don't care who owns it or controls
Exit
it.
right.
It's just a place. It's a dot on the map and you go there. Or just don't have it. Just drive around it. I mean, it's, you know, it's
At
not
the
that hard to
roundabout,
just omit
take the
things.
second exit.
Let's go, okay, too hard basket. We're just going to
Exit
have it so
now.
that the road doesn't even go there. €0 toll gate. Yeah, I
Keep
think there's a few
left.
places where, like, you'll start a toll bit and then finish it really quickly if you take an exit straight afterwards or something, and it just kind of gets confused. I don't know, I just wish I didn't have to stop at them. If I could just drive through, just charge me whatever, I don't
At
care.
the roundabout,
Just
take the
let me
second
drive
exit.
through. The Scandinavian ones, I
Exit
think, are
now.
good for that. Yeah, I know it says that you paid €0 or whatever. I mean, in terms of how it calculates what toll you pay, it's usually based on how far you've driven on that
At the
particular
roundabout,
road.
take the second exit.
So I think based on where you entered and where
Exit
you get off,
now.
it gets confused.
Keep left, and then turn left.
Are there actual gates and toll booths in New Zealand? We don't really have any toll
Turn left.
booths in New Zealand. We have a toll road to the north of Auckland, but that's electronic only. Like, cameras take a photo of your license plate and then you pay it. There aren't even gates. Like, there isn't even a a bit that you
This
drive through.
is where it ends.
There's just cameras on the side of the road that take a picture of your number plate, and then you pay via a website. Or I believe if you're like a truckie or something, you'll have a contactless thing, like an RF thing in your cab. I can't remember. Or you just like pay in advance or something. But we just don't have much in the way of toll roads at all. Like, we pay taxes. That's what pays for our roads. Sometimes. Honestly, I would prefer it if there were more toll things added in, because then they might be a better quality. You might get funding approved a lot quicker. Like there's some expressways that were put into the south of Auckland, connecting here in Hamilton, that have been being produced over the last 10 years or so. And I can't help but feel that since there's still the old road as the alternative that you can take. So it's like, if you want to take the fancy new road, pay a toll, and that would help fund it. And more money can then go into maintaining other roads elsewhere. 3,024 kilometers travelled. Almost level 74, just from that. That's a lot of XP. Nice. That was a long delivery. And there's the service station. I mean, I could just call for services, to be honest, rather than drive there, but we're going to explore the marina. And we're going to then come over here. And then we're going to find our way to the services. And that's where we'll call it quits, but we'll have a little bit of fun being able to drive a bit faster. Pay taxes and tolls. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, you know, you can do both. The taxes pay for the main maintenance, but for new things that get put in, to help fast track them, help pay them off quicker, and it's basically to it means that funds are not being diverted from other things to that. And it's a case of make it a toll road. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. User pays. Some highways when you enter them, it scans your plate and you get a letter in the mail. Yeah, that's like the one that's to the north of Auckland. That's basically the only thing that we really have.
At the roundabout, take the second exit. Exit now.
Yeah, bridges are the obvious thing. It's so long as there is an alternative. Like the road to the north, it's a shortcut. It goes through a tunnel instead of having to take the old twisty coastal route. So if you want to take the scenic route and not pay,
make a U-turn when possible.
If you want to take the fast route, then you go through the tunnel and you pay the toll. That's perfectly reasonable to me. I would only object to a toll being charged if there wasn't an alternative, and it's just like blackmailing people into taking the road, basically. Find money to make money in the scenic route. Well, it's because the scenic route's the current road, right? So you can't do that anymore, and it just like goes through towns and stuff. It's not like a dedicated route. It goes through small towns and stuff. It's just the road that connects them.
Exit now.
Good way to discourage car usage. Well, there is that. I mean, I do that in like SimCity and City Skylines and stuff. I will build my residential zone separate from my commercial or industrial zone, and I will put a toll booth between them, because I'm a dickhead like that. I will literally blackmail my citizens into paying the toll.
At the roundabout,
but then I'll also put in like bus routes and stuff. It's like, well, if you take the bus, you don't pay the toll. But you pay to take the bus instead.
Exit
That's
now.
the idea behind like congestion charges and such.
Keep left.
You're penalising people for driving in town. Personally, I think it makes more sense to charge for parking. So if you're just driving
Go
through,
straight.
then who cares? Like, why are you
Keep
anyway?
right,
But if you're paying
then
to
exit
park
right.
there, then that's where like it makes more sense to me.
Exit right.
I don't know. I
At
don't
the
drive. I take
roundabout,
the train anyway,
Take
so
the second
kind
exit.
of a moot point for me.
Keep right.
Squeeze.
Exit now.
We're getting repaired soon anyway. So now we get to have a bit of fun.
Keep right, and then exit right. Exit right.
Except our
Keep
12th
right.
gear isn't working because we've taken too much damage. It's always a problem. So one thing you got to worry about in speedruns of this game is if you take too much damage, your 12th
At
gear
the
stops working,
roundabout,
and
take the
then
second
you
exit.
can't get to the top speed anymore.
Keep right. Exit now. Get ready to turn right.
Which is kind of good because it discourages people just
Turn
taking
right.
tons of damage by being reckless. You've got to be careful.
Here we are. Kind of on time.
Okay, time to repair. $31,000. Yeah, so from the 86 grand that I just made, I only really see 50 of that because I took too much damage. That's what happens when you drive recklessly. Oh well, what a shame. Yeah, where's the point that I can rest? There. Cool. And we're going to park up. And we're going to leave it there. Gonna save the game. And I doubt there's anyone to raid. Yep. Well, we're gonna leave it there. It's time for me to go get some lunch. It's a bit later than that, in fact. I'm quite hungry. So, yeah, thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoyed chilling out and watching me crash. And we'll see when we get to do more. Might do a bit off stream, but yeah. We're just going to be trying to explore a bit more around Iberia, hopefully, now that we're there. Cool. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.